All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another review. The game we're reviewing today is the new Revelations DLC for Doom: The Dark Ages. So, I am a huge fan of Doom: The Dark Ages. I I thought the game was already amazing. It was actually the first game I ever reviewed on my channel, and so I was naturally extremely excited to see a DLC get announced. And I'm just gonna say it right now. I think this DLC is absolutely incredible. It is somehow even better than I anticipated. It's amazing. So let's just get to it. We are going to be splitting the review into two main parts, like I usually do. So the first part will be free of spoilers, and then the second one will be full of spoilers. And then each of these parts will also be divided into parts concerning gameplay, visuals, story, and soundtrack. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Starting with the spoiler-free part, and let's talk about the gameplay first. You're already seeing background footage of just the regular Dark Ages campaign. There is nothing, no nasty spoilers lurking there. So, yeah. And starting off with the gameplay, oh, it is something else. Like I said, I already really liked the gameplay in Doom: The Dark Ages. I know not everyone did. People called it slow. People said it was much worse than Eternal and all that kind of stuff. I think all of those complaints that you could have had about the gameplay of the base gameplay of the Dark Ages, I don't think they apply to this DLC anymore. I don't think you could apply them to the DLC anymore, no matter how hard you tried. Because, well, the developers already, even before the DLC, the developers already added an option to remove the slow motion that people were complaining about. And now, with all of the crazy new mechanics that you have at your disposal in this DLC, I really don't see how any of those complaints that people had would still apply to this. It is, without giving away any spoilers, it was so fun. I don't really know how to express it. It really just felt like, it just felt amazing. It just felt so good. I I'm at a loss for words, actually. This always happens whenever I thought something was cool that I just can't. I just don't know what to say. I have a really easy time criticizing things, but when I'm trying to praise them, suddenly it doesn't work. But it's fucking awesome. And if you are a fan of Doom Eternal but didn't like Dark Ages, I highly suggest you give this DLC a try. It is incredible. I think it's amazing. I thought it was great. I had so much fun ripping and tearing throughout the whole campaign, which was actually pretty long. This DLC is actually a lot longer than the Ancient Gods from Doom Eternal, so there's quite a lot of content here. I was very pleasantly surprised by how much there was to do in the DLC, and it was all just fucking crazy. Let me tell you that much. So that's that's the short of it. So another thing that really sticks out in this DLC are the boss fights. There's only a couple of them, but they're all so much fun. They're all really challenging, but in such a fun way. Like, I mean, the Dark Ages campaign already had bosses that were significantly better than Eternal. And this is one thing that I don't think you can even argue about. The bosses in Eternal sucked shit, but the ones in Dark Ages are just better. Like, literally. If you want to argue with me that the Icon of Sin is somehow a good boss, go ahead. I'll fight you. I think that any boss from Dark Ages is infinitely more fun than even the most fun boss from Eternal, which was the Dark Lord, who wasn't even fun. He was just bearable in comparison to all of the other bullshit that they made you fight. So yeah, I the boss fights were just amazing in this DLC. Another absolute highlight of the whole thing, in my opinion. And I think that's about it for the gameplay for the spoiler-free part. I'll get into more detail in the next part. I just don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't played the DLC. Go do it, please. Do yourself a favor and give it a try. So let's move on to the visuals. Like always with Doom, the visuals are just great. There are two new levels that just look. Oh, I mean, there's not only two levels in the DLC, but there's two levels in particular that have a very unique style to them, and I think they look great. And all of the new monsters, there's not that many of them, but they all look great. One of my favorite things about Doom has always been the monster designs, and they crushed it with the ones in this DLC. So yeah, that's about it for that. I'll go into so much detail in the next part. Don't you worry about it. And now let's move on to the story. I think the story was really good too. It gave us a lot of lore that we didn't previously have on a lot of different things regarding the Doom franchise. There was a lot of oh, no spoilers, but there's a lot of additional information about certain things that were not as thoroughly explored in other titles. So if you're into the lore of Doom, this will be a treat. I do wish we had more of it, because well, we're still at the spoiler-free part, but some of the lore that we got was so interesting. Some of the story that we uncovered was just so gripping to me that I really wish we had more of it. Like, it's not that it's underwhelming with how I don't think that we got like too little of anything, but I just really wish there was more, because it was just so interesting to find out all those things. Right? And then let's move on to the soundtrack. I I already thought that the Dark Ages based soundtrack was incredible. I loved it. I know people hate it because it's not Mick Gordon, but I thought it was great, and it's arguably even better in this DLC. Like, I think just because there's fewer levels than the the composers had fewer songs to make, so they could really focus more on making those few songs as good as possible, and they did. The music goes hard in this DLC, like it goes crazy. No, obviously they won't replace Mick Gordon. Guy's a legend. We all know that. But fuck, the music's good, and I was headbanging all the time. I thought it was great. Fight me. Right, so that's about it for the spoiler-free part of the review. I'm gonna go into a lot of detail in this next part, so if you don't want to see any spoilers, then click off now, and perhaps come back later when you finish the DLC to get me more views. Okay, spoiler full part starting now. So let's talk briefly about some of the new mechanics that were introduced in this DLC. So in Revelations, you get the ability to swap out your shield for a spear, which has a much crazier moveset overall. It's just honestly, I don't think I could ever like consistently use the shield ever again. Like, I really hope that we get the ability to use the spear in the main campaign, because I don't think I can see myself playing through this game with only the shield after having experienced this. So, the spear lets you dash like an Eternal. You just have the double dash exactly like an Eternal, and you have the meat hook also like an Eternal, except since it's not bound to the super shot, to just the super shotgun anymore. You can meat hook with any weapon, and there's even an ability that lets you like swing around the enemy. So you can just grab like an accelerator or I don't know, a shredder or something, and just circle an enemy while constantly shooting at them. You have a lot of new attacks that you can do with the spear. So mm, you can just swing the spear and parry attacks that way, or you can, or if you dash out of the way of an attack at the last second, it counts as a perfect dodge, and both of those things power up your spear for special attacks. So you can stab, you can like slam it into the ground and get some health, like the Sentinel Hammer from the ancient gods, or you can throw it, which does extra damage to flying enemies, and you can there's one ability which lets you knock enemies out of like invulnerable states. So like the Agadon or the Revenant, when they go invulnerable, you can just throw the spear and it knocks them right out of it. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I I loved it. It was so fun to use. It was just like, oh my god, the spear was so good. Like you're fighting an Agadon, and you dodge with your chain shot. I usually fight Agadons with the chain shot because it gets powered off of parry, so that feels like a logical thing to do. So you get your chain shot, you're dodging out of the way, and the perfect dodge also powers up the chain shot, which is a very nice thing. So you dodge out of the way, you fire chain shot, you dodge with a chain shot, you stab when you get the energy, then the Agadon tries to go invulnerable, you fucking throw the spear, knock him right out of it. You can really bully those guys with the spear, which you couldn't with the shield. Because, well, you didn't have the stab or the throw, so you couldn't just slap in a billion attacks at a time. Oh, like I think, like, it's just incomparable how much better the spear is than the shield. There's only a few instances where I do think the shield can work better. One, I still do really think that the shield dash, like the shield charge, is more reliable for getting out of sticky situations, because the meat hook I think has a shorter activation range, and also it doesn't like immediately pull you to the target. You have to kind of like wait for the chain to pull you away. And with the shield dash, you just immediately zoom to the enemy you're targeting. And also the shield throw is a really good ability. If you're, I can already see that people who are way better at the game than I am would like tactically switch to the shield for a second just to do the shield throw, and then switch right back to the spear and utilize it that way. I tried to do that a few times, when the battle wasn't too intense. I can imagine people would. There are people who could do that strategy a lot better than I did. Yeah, so that's that. There's something that, like, okay, I know might be a weird thing to say, but just bear with me for a second. Like, I think that maybe, like, as fun as the spear is to use, it is extremely fun. It does kind of feel like putting it in here and introducing mechanics from Eternal like the meat hook and the dash. Kind of feels like the developers folded under pressure from people who, from fans of Doom Eternal who thought that the gameplay was too slow here. So developers just, folded under that and brought back mechanics from Eternal to sort of win those people back. That's kind of what it feels like to me, and I'm not sure I like that. Like, it's because you should be allowed to change things up. You should be allowed to give the game a new identity, to change the combat, to make it like its own thing rather than just a copy of Doom Eternal, right? So that kind of bugs me a little bit, but also the spear is so fun to use that 99% of people literally won't care about that, I feel like. And yeah. So that's just something I noticed. Let's move on. So I want to talk about some of the bosses in more detail. So, like, I think the three main bosses that you fight are super good. There's Marek, there's the Henchman, and there's the secret Astral boss, the giant Pain Elemental, and they're all so fun to fight. Like, they just are. Because it's an actual like boss fight. It's not like the fucking Icon of Sin where it's an endless gauntlet of enemies and a big target for you to shoot. It's an actual fight where the boss performs certain attacks and you have to do certain things to avoid the attack. There's stuff you have to jump over, stuff you have to dash away from, stuff you have to parry. And it's really quick, it's intense, it's challenging. I played on the ultra violence difficulty level. I know, you can make fun of me all you want. Not Nightmare, get good, noob, whatever. But I thought Marek was very enjoyable. He was actually the toughest boss. I feel like, even though he was the first one, he's the one that I died the most to. I beat the henchman and the astral boss relatively quickly, but Marek actually gave me quite a lot of trouble. It was in a good way though. There was nothing about any of the bosses that I thought was unfair, apart from maybe sometimes the astral boss. With the astral boss, you had to shoot down the turrets that he was putting up, and then at the same time he was destroying the floor underneath you. So that could be a little frustrating when you're trying to shoot the turrets and you don't see the floor underneath you collapsing. That could be a little frustrating, but well, I didn't think it was that much of a problem. I still really liked fighting the astral boss. So yeah, no complaints about the boss fights at all. They were all very, very fun to fight. And yeah, I guess that's it for the gameplay. It was great, and even the uh, the mini bosses, what are they called? The leaders, the guys that you rip their heart out and you get extra stats. They were all also really fun. They had all sorts of unique attacks, and they were also really enjoyable to fight for the most part. There were a few that were pretty annoying, but by just a tiny bit. I don't think there was anything really in the DLC that I thought was like actually annoying. Except for the purple Hell Knight. Okay, yeah, that was the only new enemy type that I thought fucking sucked. Because he just jumps over and if you don't kill him in 1 millisecond, he kills you instantly. That was a little annoying. I didn't like the Hell Knight that much. The purple Hell Knight. He was a jerk. So yeah, that's it for the gameplay part. Let's move on to the visuals. So the two levels that I was talking about that I think look great are Hell's Core and Osseous, the Bone City. I think they look great. Like all the other levels look good too, obviously, but they are sort of stuff that we've already seen. The final level is just like a Sentinel City. We've seen that already. The level in the with the cosmic maze is also pretty samey because we've already seen the cosmic realm. It's still really cool. Like the cosmic realm visuals are always great, but the two standouts in terms of visuals were Hell's Core and Arceus. Like we've never had a full-on ice level in the modern Doom games, I don't think. I haven't played Doom 2016, so maybe there is an ice level there, but I don't think so. In Eternal, we had the World Spear, which was a little snowy near the end, but we never had like a full-on ice level. And also the big fucking hell machine that's like extracting the Argent energy looked so cool. And then Arceus is just an amazing level. Like a whole city made of bones. Just sounds like such a cool concept, and it was executed beautifully here. As for the monster designs, I have to shout out the Buzzsaw. When he showed up, I was like, holy shit, that's the coolest motherfucker I've ever seen. I think the Buzzsaw is so cool. He has this like little unicycle saw blade that he rides around on, and he has a shield and this like huge fucking spike on his arm. He's really cool. And then also the henchman. Oh my god, the henchman is so cool. He's this fucking crazy giant guy with like 8 arms, and all of his arms are different sizes. He has two like regular sized arms. He has two smaller arms below that, and he has one like giant arm. And oh my god, everything just looks so cool in this game. Holy shit! And I also really like the design for the Hell Council. I think they all looked really, really cool, and it's a shame we didn't get to actually fight them because I thought they looked great. Yeah, just everything, man. Marok was super cool with the Maker armor and the dual swords. The Pain Elementals look really nice in the like cosmic variant. Everything just looks so good. So let's move on to the story then. So, like I already said, we get a lot of cool lore for stuff that we might not have known much about previously. So we get a whole lot of backstory on the Slayer himself. You even get to play through flashbacks of when he was still a Marine, and there's this mission that he goes through at like a hospital where he accidentally got some innocent people killed, and he was feeling really bad about it. And there was a lot of like you had a few codec pages that you could read of like what happened of what happened that led to him becoming the Slayer. And there was like you could read through this that there was this that after this incident at the hospital where he got some people killed and that was not his fault. It was one of his superiors that didn't like him for some reason and wanted him expelled, so he didn't tell him that there were innocent people in the building, and big fuck up. And then he was sent to Mars. And that's where the codec cuts off, that he gets sent to Mars because it's not safe for him to carry out missions in like residential areas. So you can imagine that that's when like I do like to imagine like in my head that that's when the plot of Doom 3 starts. Though I mean I don't know. I think the continuity and like the timeline of the older Doom games is a little messy and kind of jumbled, but I do like to imagine that when he got sent to Mars, that's when Doom 3 happens. And then after that, I don't know, other things maybe. Eventually he just becomes a Slayer. And yeah, we also got the origin for the Praetor suit. That was so cool because the henchman destroys the Slayer's armor, and then with the help of the architect, he later repairs it, and it becomes the Praetor suit from from Doom 2016 and Eternal. I thought that was so fucking cool. You had this Iron Man style scene when they're like assembling the armor. It was awesome, bro. And also we got to see, what was really cool, we got to see the like deception of the Khan Maker. Like we actually got to see it happen. We got to see the Khan Maker like manipulate the Sentinels and Marok in particular. That was cool to see because that was stuff that we read about in the codex from Doom Eternals. It was cool to see that like you know actually unfold. That was cool. We didn't see like we didn't actually see the ritual of Marok becoming the icon of sin, which would have been a really cool thing. But we did see like what happened with him and like what his father wanted to do and all that kind of stuff. So this is what I was referring to, that there was a lot of really cool lore, but I wish there was a little more, especially for the especially with the Slayer's backstory. I wanted to play. I loved the flashbacks. I wanted to play so many more of them. It's a shame there's only three. I would have loved to play a flashback of like Doom 3 or just anything connected to like the very start of the demon invasion. That would have been fucking awesome, bro. So, yeah, I think that's about it for the story. There's one thing I don't really understand about the story is when the architect picked up the magic tablet and then a new stone sort of materialized on it. I don't really understand like how that happened and like what that's supposed to symbolize, and overall what the architect's like, if the architect has some sort of deeper like some kind of role that was like hinted at in other Doom games. I don't really know. He felt like a completely new character to me, but maybe there were some mentions of him in some codex somewhere that I maybe overlooked, or maybe they were in Doom 2016, which I haven't played, so I wouldn't know. But I didn't really understand like why the gem appeared, like what that kind of symbolizes. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Maybe it's obvious, but I didn't really get that. Mm, so if anyone has like an explanation, then feel free to comment down below. I'd appreciate that. Yeah. So that's that. I thought there was a lot of cool lore to be found here. One more thing I forgot to mention, so I'm putting it in here now. There's also these, they're called classic encounters, where you play through like a level from Doom 1 or Doom 2 with with like updated graphics, as in like all like your character and all the demons are all updated graphics, but everything else still kind of looks like it did in the original Doom. So that's a really fun touch. Those were really, that was just really sweet to see. I bet if you're a fan of the classic Doom, you'll probably appreciate those a lot. I appreciated them, and I haven't even played the original Doom. I mean, I have on the computer in Doom Eternal, but I haven't actually ever played the game like like on its own. I only ever, and I'm not sure if the computer in Doom Eternal has the full game on it, but I beat the whole thing. I beat every level that was available there. So I consider myself at least a little experienced with, I think that I have experienced at least some of the classic Doom. Yeah. And now we move on to the soundtrack. So as I already said, it is great. I think Finishing Move did a fantastic job once again. And I have to shout out the soundtrack on Hell's Core in particular. All the DLC music rips. It's absolutely incredible. All of them are bangers. I loved every single song. but the one on Hell's Core in particular is on another level, bro. It fucking rips and it tears at the same time. It's definitely my favorite. It's my new favorite track in all of the Dark Ages, and one of my favorite tracks in the whole Doom franchise overall. It just, I don't know what it is about it. It just sounds so fucking good. I love it. Great, absolutely great job from Finishing Move on the soundtrack. So yeah, that's that. You don't, you don't usually, you don't often get this kind of review from me where I just go absolutely praising everything about the game. The last time that was Hades 2. I'm not sure if these kinds of reviews are more fun or if maybe it's more enjoyable to hear me hate on stuff. I don't know. In any case, this is my favorite piece of gaming media. Because I was gonna say game, but it's not a full game. It's a DLC, so I can't really say that. So it's my favorite piece of gaming media of this year so far. I don't know if it gets topped. I I don't know if it gets topped, but we'll see because I'm very excited for another game that's coming out in about 2 months, and we'll see if that beats it. For now, though, Revelations is I had such a good time playing it, and yeah, I should probably stop talking. See you guys whenever I see you.